Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Devon, and I'm going to go over the my project management final exam presentation. Today is November 3rd, 2024. Let's see. So yeah, this is just an overview of the topics I'll be going over today. Going over project control, assessment, and risk, such as like managing project progress, assessing performance, and mitigating risk. Also going to go over project selection, initiation, and requirements. This is just going to be about understanding how projects are chosen, started, scoped. And last thing we'll talk about is communication, working with people. So, just highlighting the significance of teamwork and communication. All right, so what is project control and assessment? So it involves monitoring and evaluating a project's progress to ensure it stays on track with planned objectives, timelines, and budgets. So these practices enable project managers to identify potential issues early, making it necessary, in order to make necessary adjustments and maintain alignment with project goals. As well as like something super important is risk management. So risk management involves identifying potential risks, assessing their impact and likelihood, implementing strategies to mitigate or manage those risks to minimize their effect on project objectives. Um, Break. All right. Does anyone have a question in regards to project control and assessment?
Yes, I have a question.
Go for it.
What do you think are the most common risks in a project, and how would you go about controlling and assessing progress in such scenarios?
I will say like being I'm a software engineer, been a software engineer for a little while now, and I think a common risk in projects, especially starting off, is scope creep, and um, it's where like additional like tasks and changes are added beyond the initial project plan, and scope creep potentially impacts timelines and budgets as well. And I would say to control and assess progress in like the cases of scope creep, I think it's very essential to like set clear project boundaries from the start and establish a process for evaluating any requested changes. So regular status meetings, milestone reviews, that'll help align it with the project's objectives. Also, like using, tools like Gantt charts or I know EVMs and stuff like that. I think that'll allow us to, identify and address scope creep as well. So that was a good question. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, let's go and move on to project selection, initiation, and requirements. So, with the project selection process, you can use methods like cost benefit analysis and strategic alignment to help evaluate potential projects by assessing their financial returns and ensuring that they support the organization's long-term goals. And that's just one method. There are plenty of methods you can go about project selection process, but that is one that's very important to cover. Also, what about project initiation, right? I think a strong project starts is essential for setting clear objectives and engaging stakeholders early. With this, it just establishes a shared vision and it builds support that can drive a project's success. I can't tell you how many times I've like, you can like have a stakeholder and sometimes they're not as bought in as you would like for them to be, and it just makes the process a little tougher than what it should be. So gathering requirements, right? So I guess there are different ways you can gather requirements. You can conduct, thorough requirement gathering workshops with stakeholders at the start of projects. That just helps, ensures that everyone like needs, expectations are, defined, met, documented, agreed upon, so there aren't any surprises when it comes down the road when you're doing things like, something like a milestone review or something along those lines. So I would definitely one method to doing the gathering requirements is doing some sort of workshops with stakeholders. Cool. Before we move on, does anyone have a question?
I have a
Yeah,
question. I have a question.
Cool. Yeah, what's up?
Uh, uh, so, why is it essential to have clear requirements at the beginning? Can you share any experiences where unclear requirements caused issues?
Yeah, for sure. That's a good question. So clear requirements are essential at the start of a project because they help everyone understand exactly what needs to be done to avoid confusion later on down the road. So, and without clear requirements, teams can misunderstand what's expected. This can lead to what extra work days, maybe some delays. Maybe this is where we get into some cost, increased costs in the terms of the project. I'll give you an example. For instance, I worked on this project where there was a time where there was like unclear requirements that caused the devs and the design to bump heads a lot in terms of like say it was like a feature. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember this instance. Um, and so when that happens, it can cause both the devs or design and or designers have different ideas about what's next to come for the project. So this led to extra meetings, longer days, and it slowed us down. But with good communication, you're able to identify, when something like that has happened, and you can prevent from that happening. But that experience definitely showed me how important it is to make sure everyone agrees on project details right from the start. So, does that answer your question?
Yes, yes.
Cool. All right, let's go on. So, communication and working with people. So this is one of the topics that we covered in the class. I forget which week it was, but it really is a good topic and it really is a good discussion to have about especially the importance of communication. So, effective communication helps prevent misunderstandings, ensure everyone's on the same page, which keeps the project running smoothly, aligned with its goals. Okay, and one of those parts of communication, as far as the team, is building a collaborative team. So a method that I've seen and something that we've covered in the class is active listening. And active listening just helps make sure people are focused on other people's words and they're showing value in their input. Not only are you doing that, not only are you showing like you value the input, like once someone's telling you something, you're showing them that you value what they're saying. It builds trust and encourages, effective teamwork throughout the project's life cycle. Um, and also, one thing that you're going to have to do for sure, any project, no matter how good or collaborative the team is overcoming challenges. And one common challenge in communication is handling different communication styles. As team members, everyone has, varying preferences and information, and it can come to a lot of misunderstanding. And it can slow down the process of the project for sure. All right, this is a stop for one more question. Someone has one more question.
Yeah, I have one question. In your opinion, what's the biggest communication challenge in a project setting and how would you handle it?
Um, yeah, I think the last one, like the last part to the slide was, I think the biggest miscommunication challenge in a project is ensuring that everyone has the same understanding of the project goals and updates as well. So misalignment can lead to mistakes, delays, and to handle this, I would establish regular check-ins, clear documentation, especially if you're like a developer. I think having clear documentation and code is super, super important. And this is make sure everyone's on the same page and any misunderstandings can be addressed early on. And I think that is really the key is to like if you're going to have mistakes and mistakes are going to happen, just when those mistakes happen early, you want them to happen early so they can get fixed and documented, and so that later on down the road there's less issues and your team is working smoothly. So um yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. All right, that is all that I had. I appreciate everyone's attention and the questions. They were really good questions. And yeah, thanks for paying attention.
Thank you.